There's a soldier in the Nigerian army that
Like
a
this
death
particular
sentence
post,
was
yes.
placed on his head, and I'm just about to interview him right now before I leave Lagos to Abuja. So it was even United Nations that tried to help the soldier, but I must tell his story tonight. Come with me, let's do this.
The reason why death sentence was pronounced as charge, we were very well equipped with weapons, not just weapons, as in Russian-made weapons. Weapons like the T-55 armor tank carrier, the GPMG. These were weapons we fought with. The mine detector machine. That machine can detect a mine or a bomb from 300 meters. We go to fight and then we come back, we feel as if nothing happened. But meanwhile, we have caused destruction, like deep destruction in enemy's camp. We did bad things to terrorists. I wouldn't lie to you, let me be honest.
But don't mention them.
I can't mention them, but we did dirty. Before you know, they'll tell us, ask us to bring the detector machine back to the headquarters. Before you know, one or two, before you know, weapons, we were empty now. We had only the rifle, our rifles now, normal rifles. So each time we go for attack, we discover how difficult it is, you understand, to succeed. Because without those machines, it will be very difficult to be successful in any mission. At that point, we said if we don't get those weapons back, that we are going to terminate the mission. When we noticed that the request was not met, we became demoralized. Things are happening in your country. See kidnappers everywhere. See bandits. Are they bastards in our country where we have men? My men do. I just pray that the government, revisit our case, and then you see and you hear how the game plays.
Why did the army put a death sentence on your head? What did you do?
Yes, the army put a death sentence on my head and that of 53 other special forces soldiers. Not just fat leg soldiers, trained combatant special forces, to make 54 special forces soldiers. From 101 battalion, we were deployed in Northeast as at the time of Goodluck Jonathan. That time was even when terrorism in Nigeria was at its peak. While we went for courses and came back, our countenance changed. Our mode of operation changed. We began to see terrorists as deep threat, not just threat, deep threat to national security. And then we were very well equipped with weapons, not just weapons, as in Russian-made weapons. Weapons like the T-55, the armor tank carrier, and the GPMG, the BMG, and the anti-aircraft machine guns. These were weapons we fought with. Then another type of gadget we had that was very effective was the mine detector machine. That machine can detect a mine or a bomb from 300 meters. And once the detector machine detects the mines, automatically the vehicle stop, our convoy stop, then our engineers then go down, track that IED. It is called IED, improvised electronic device. It's a very deadly bomb. Very deadly. So once our engineer tracks it down, it is gone. It is over. So that was the usefulness of weapons for special forces soldiers.
Which was provided by President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes, President Jonathan actually what I love about President Jonathan is this. He normally goes deep to ask questions about what soldiers need. He goes deep to ask, and then once they ask, and then it is told, he give order for those things to be made necessary, to be made available rather. So and once they are available, when you see there are some weapons you fight with, as you are fighting with those weapons, your morale is high. Your morale is very high. If you see in terms of welfare, Jonathan provided there was enough welfare for us. More than enough welfare. Do you know that we go to fight and then we come back, we feel as if nothing happened, but meanwhile we have caused destruction, like deep destruction in enemy's camp. It got to a point when we don't wear casual uniform like the regular soldiers. We go on black. We go on black undercover. There was a time the Boko Haram informants started murmuring and then saying that for instance, when we're at Ngoshe, there's a place called Ngoshe.
Which state?
Borno State. Yes, Goza local government. Goza. We were deployed there, and do you know that place was a stronghold? You know, they passed there to do their terrible deeds. They caused havoc. They passed through that route to cause havoc. But once we went there for deployment, everything changed. Their movement was trapped. We don't sleep. You sleep with one eye and open one eye like this, and you can't sleep. You can't sleep. That was what we were trained for. Some of us trained in India, while some were trained in Pakistan.
Where were you trained?
Pakistan. So, you see, this issue of training, as I'm talking to you now, 53 other of my colleagues are still on standby till date. What I mean 53 dreaded soldiers. If those 54 plus me 54, if we mount a location with weapons, just leave the rest. Leave the rest activity for us. Just leave the rest for us. So it was really a terrible issue. But the issue that led to the death sentence was actually the fact that, you see those weapons I talked to you about earlier, that was provided, because when we landed Northeast, the first question that was asked was what we needed by this then 7 Div GOC. That time, when we listed everything, surprisingly, we saw everything we listed were provided. If you see morale, we don't deploy in a place for so long. We deploy anywhere we deploy. We don't stay long there. Our own is to go and make peace and create stability. So, do you know we were so rugged that even terrorists started murmuring? They started murmuring. I'm telling you, they were even threatening the villagers that if they see them communicate with us, if they see them go close to us, this one, that threat. Until there was a day they came. That's Ngoshe. They came and attacked. When they came, the attack, that place was it is rocky. It's like a rocky hill. When they came for that fight, what they saw was not what they expected. They met stronghold of weapons firing at them at exclusive range, and the fire mechanism was so tough that they withdrew back. And after that, they came again. And the funny thing is this: before we lost a soldier, it took for like 7 months after deployment before we started losing soldiers. And out of soldiers we lost, imagine a team of 120 soldiers. Imagine that those four were missing. Imagine, out of 120 for that period of time.
That President Goodluck Jonathan period.
Jonathan was a fantastic president.
You people had enough ammunition.
Ammunition is the bullet too. You people will say ammunition. Ammunition is bullet too.
Okay, ammunition means bullet. Okay, people had enough weapons.
Ammunition is like granite. It was surplus. The weapons were there. Do you know their informant will come to the camp to observe what we are having as weapons before they come to attack?
How do they come?
Well, let me tell you. It is like a village terrain. That place is like a village terrain where people, go about their normal day activities, and then when their informants come, they will dress like villagers. You wouldn't know now. Then they will be observing now. You wouldn't know. Then they go feed them and tell them, those men are very rugged. They are prepared. Those men, that place is a no go. They won't come. But once they come and notice that you are carrying maybe all these Chinese-made weapons, they will come. Once they come and see something like maybe all these refurbished made weapons, they will not come. And they will come. But once they come and see Russian-made weapons, they won't. So, as I'm talking to you now, we out of frustration, right? Last year, January, we were summoned by the army to the headquarters, and then we had to apply for voluntary discharge stuff.
I think you're rushing this. What led to you being summoned?
Sorry. The reason why we were summoned, or the court martial, it was death sentence now. The reason why death sentence was pronounced as charge, mutiny. It was mutiny, and it is one of the highest charges in the military. After some time, the issue is those weapons we were given later were taken away from us. That mine detector machine, we just woke up from, before you know it, and order from above that were to bring the weapon, before you know, they'll ask us to bring the, what's it called, the detector machine back to the headquarters. Before you know, weapons, we were empty now. We had only the rifle, our rifles now, normal rifles, and the GPMG machine gun. You see the anti-aircraft and branding machine guns, all those ones were taken away from us. So each time we go for attack, we discover how difficult it is, you understand, to succeed in operations. Because without those machines, it will be very difficult to be successful in any mission. Do you understand my point? So the issue with that charge was, we requested that we be given, those weapons are given back to us. So in order for us to continue fighting, you understand, that was the actual issue that happened. Before you knew it, like joke, like play, soldiers requested for weapon, right? And then the next thing was that they invited us over.
What did you guys do?
We requested for weapon back. Those weapons that were given to us by President Jonathan. After we didn't see those weapons.
Was it after he stayed on that they retrieved the weapons from you?
It was during his tenure. President Jonathan was still in office. But who are you to go and tell the president that weapons that he gave you were no longer with you? You can't do that. How can you go and meet the president? So what we did was we complained to our commanding officer. We told him and we said, see. He said it was the order from above that his hands were tied and this one. We're like, okay, since your hands are tied, we can't commit suicide. Because going on a very dangerous operation like that, terrorists don't joke with weapons. So we dare not joke with weapons. So at that point, we said if those weapons, we don't get those weapons back, that we are going to terminate the mission. Our mission here is to come and eliminate terrorists and not to pamper terrorists. We don't pamper them. What we do to terrorists is we fix appointments between them and God for judgment. You understand? We help them fix judgment date. Yes. So we don't pamper them. So when we noticed that the request was not met, we became demoralized. All of us became demoralized. That was where the problem started from. Okay, normally our soldiers requested for weapons, right? Soldiers that trained abroad, not even soldiers that trained in Nigeria, specially trained. Okay, you know what we have seen weapons now. We see weapons now. You understand? So the issue is, once we get those weapons, it will be very effective. The fighting will be very effective. It will be swift, and fast. Do you know there was a time we went to enemy's camp and discovered people that were kidnapped victims in the camp. We have rescued so many people. See that Chibok girls? You see that Chibok girls story? Now, let me tell on how it actually played. Terrorists are very good in decoy. Right?
What's decoy?
Yes, decoy is like this. That maybe I want to come and let me just use in civil terms. Let's say I'm interested in your girlfriend, right? And I don't want you to know. Then I'll tell you, okay, that Oga is calling you. Then as you are going to meet Oga, then I'll launch your girlfriend. I'll launch upon her. Then before you come back, I am done with what I'm doing, right? I'm done. You won't know. That is decoy. So they are very good. Now we were at Giwa Barracks, Armored Brigade. You understand? Yeah. So then they were tasked to go to Beneshek for an offensive attack. Do you know we were at Beneshek doing offensive? Then before you know it, because we were at Giwa Barracks. You understand? Giwa Barracks is in fact, let me just call that place. But we were at Giwa Barracks before they sent us to Beneshek. Before you know it, we heard Giwa Barracks was under attack. Not just attack, very deadly attack. They came to rescue their people. Their people in captive. Their people that were held in captive. They came for the rescue operation while we were away. But do you know they later radio us. They sent us a signal for us to come back that Giwa Barracks was under attack. Before I go back to Giwa Barracks, they have leveled that place. They leveled that place so bad and freed their people. The only people we saw there were the terrorists. In fact, God bless Nigerian Air Force. If not for the Air Force, too bad.
Now I have a question. Is there any particular reason that the armed forces don't work together? Because I've interviewed a lot of soldiers and it's always, I rarely hear about joint forces.
Yes,